you ever felt like if you worry more, then it's less likely for something bad to happen? Like your worrying actually stops bad things from happening? It doesn't, right? That's never happened. Today I want to talk to you about how minimalism has really helped me to stop over worrying. And I'm also going to give you 3 tips on how you can actually change the chemical process in your brain that is telling you to over worry about things, and how you can talk yourself out of that worry that turns into anxiety and stress. So if you like learning about minimalism and decluttering and living your best life, then hit that subscribe button and let's get started. While we all know that there is a certain amount of worry that makes us humans and that actually has kept us alive for thousands of years, there is definitely a place where you cross a line and worry no longer helps you, but only creates anxiety and stress. Worry is mental distress or agitation that is caused by us imagining a scenario in the future that could possibly happen. And sometimes it's because maybe it's already happened before, and so we assume it's going to happen again. Or a lot of times, if you're like me, it's completely made up. And there is no basis for why we should be worrying about it, but we think that if we worry more, that we can actually change the situation. So we all know worry is a natural instinct, and it's something that I don't want you to stop doing. I want you to worry a little bit. I want you to worry to the point where you're safe, you're loved, you're happy, but I don't want you to turn worry into something that I call the worry cycle, which is when you think you worry more, and so the bad things shouldn't happen, and it just turns into stress and anxiety, which causes more worry, and it becomes this awful, vicious cycle. All right, so I want you to close your eyes and think about this situation with me. You have been working a very long day at your job, and you know you've already invited a few friends over to come have a glass of wine and maybe some hors d'oeuvres with you. And you come home and you realize that you forgot to clean the bathroom, you don't have enough cups or plates for everyone that is coming, and you begin to feel this anxiety, this stress, this worry building up inside of you. What if they don't like me anymore? This is the kind of worry that I want you to really stop and start thinking about these next 3 things that I'm going to talk to you about. So the first thing that I want you to do when you start to feel very anxious and you get maybe the sweats or you get an upset stomach is I want you to start having time for intentional problem solving. So that means that you're not laying in bed worrying for hours on end about a situation that could possibly happen in the future. You're going to actually set aside time to worry. And I know that sounds crazy, but I actually got this from another psychologist. I watch her YouTube videos. I will find that one and link it below. She's amazing, but she talks about this intentional problem solving and how it really helps us to stop overthinking and worrying to the point that it becomes a stress. So if you are on your way home and you know you have friends coming over and you're starting to really stress out about the problem that you have, you're going to take 5 minutes and you're going to sit yourself in the car on your way home and you're going to say, okay, this is the 5 minutes that I am allowing myself to worry. But I'm not just going to sit there and replay the possible situations that could happen. I'm actually going to problem solve some of these things. So you're going to say to yourself, I'm worried my friends are going to think my bathroom is really dirty, and that's upsetting. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get home is I'm going to just do a quick wipe down. Because you know what? My friends are not going to lift up the toilet seat and inspect it. This idea of setting an intentional time to worry stops you from worrying at night when you're laying in bed, but it also creates a pattern where you are telling yourself that you are not allowed to continue this worry past right now. You're going to solve that problem immediately and deal with it. So what I have found is that if I don't have time in that moment to worry, I will schedule that time for myself and I'll say, I have this 20-30 minutes of time in my day. I'm going to actually put that on my calendar of things I need to do, and I'll write down the things that are really worrying me at that moment. And then I know in that 30 minutes, I'm allowed to really digest and focus on how I'm going to solve this problem. So number 2 is practice addressing your feelings and why you are really having them. So you can use this intentional time that you've set aside to actually think about this as well. Let's think of a real life situation. So I'm getting rid of a dress. Maybe it's a black dress. Maybe I wore it to a funeral that I'm remembering. And so I have emotional connection to this dress because I remember wearing it and what happened. Maybe I'm only hanging on to it because I think that if I get rid of it, there'll be another funeral and I won't have the right dress to wear to it. Or on the flip side, maybe you have a beautiful dress, but you just never wear it. You don't really like the way it feels, so you never wear it. But what if that one wedding came up and you don't have the dress to wear to it? Then what's gonna happen? This addressing of your feelings, this why am I clinging to an item? Because it's just an item. I mean, it's not gonna change your world one way or the other, whether you get rid of it, will really help you decide, am I keeping this because I love it, I enjoy it, it's helpful, it's useful, or have I connected an emotional feeling to an item and that's the reason I can't get rid of it? I don't need it, it's not useful to me, it would really help somebody else out maybe, but I'm so emotionally attached to it that I can't let go. Now, I'm not saying you have to let go of it either, but I'm saying addressing those feelings of worry, of letting go, will really help you to be able to make a clear decision on getting rid of things that you don't need. So this is the last thing I want you to do when you're really working on your worry and how to deal with your worry. Maybe it is you are decluttering your house and you're really stressed about these things you're getting rid of. This is what I want you to do. I want you to use the power of imagination. What that means for me is actively stepping outside of your body, like physically, well, not physically, actively stepping outside your body. Like you close your eyes and actually picture yourself stepping out of yourself. This idea very much reminds me of Beetlejuice. You know when the people crash and then they kind of step outside their bodies.
It's better when you're dry, honey.
So when you are creating and using the power of imagination, I want you to step outside of your body and you're going to talk to yourself like you're talking to yourself as someone else, like a different friend, or even sometimes I like to just imagine my real self as being small, like a child. And my person that I've stepped outside with is the wiser, smarter adult. And I am talking to the younger, smaller self. I'll say things like, Becky, are they really going to stop being your friends because you don't have enough plates? Would you stop being somebody else's friend because they don't have enough plates? Probably not. I'll say things like, Becky, you're doing your best. Becky, explain to them that this is what you need to be happy and this brings you contentment. But Becky, most likely, they might think you're a little crazy for a minute, but guess what? They're only at your house because they really like you. They'd only come over because they really want to be your friend and they want to have a camaraderie with you. So Becky, you're doing fine. Just explain it. It's gonna be okay. Talk to yourself like you're a third person, a friend, whoever you want to picture yourself as. But talk to yourself like you would someone else talking to you. I guarantee when you do this strategy, you will, one, talk to yourself a lot kinder. But it does take practice. I want you to know that this didn't change the actual chemistry in my brain right away. Not the first, not the second, not the third time, but now that I do this basically every day, because don't we talk to ourselves like every day, all the time? Now that I can step outside of myself anytime I want and talk to myself as a kind onlooker, I talk to myself, one, so much nicer, and I'm able to take an outsider's perspective of my worry, and it makes me worry a lot less. It's almost like I have a friend with me at all times that's telling me, sit down, it's okay, you don't need to worry about this, everything is going to be all right, and if it's not, I got your back, I'm here.
So literally just starting to edit this video and
my dog jumped off of our bed and he had already kind of sprained his back legs the other day. He's an older guy and he yelped, and I went up there and he had peed himself. He wouldn't get out of it, and so I just washed him and I ran over to the vet, and luckily this is a Tuesday, so it's not an emergency vet visit, but it is a vet visit, and they're gonna try and figure out what's wrong with his back legs. So there's that. I mean, I could sit here, and on the way back from the vet, I was just thinking about this video that I just made and how I literally just talked about these 3 strategies to use to stop all my worrying, and it actually really helped. So, you know, I was thinking to myself, and I kind of stepped outside of my body and I said, Becky, there's nothing you can do besides what you've just done. He's in the vet, he's in the best care he could possibly have, and all we can do is just make sure he's getting the best possible care that he can get, and address the feelings that, yes, I am upset. This was not expected. This is, you know, a very upsetting thing to happen, to have, you know, my dog in pain, and I don't want it to be happening right now, but it is. And so worrying about what the outcome is going to be is not going to help anymore. You know, I've already done enough worrying that I got up, called the vet, got him to the vet. He's in the best hands possible. And, you know, just reminding myself that I have done everything I could to give him a level of comfort and to make sure that he's getting well taken care of. And so things happen in our life constantly and to surprise. So whether we're worried about something that could potentially happen, or we start worrying about things that are never going to happen, when you take that level of worry to a point where that's all you can think about and you start to feel ill and sick and anxious, it's not going to help you, and it doesn't actually help the situation. Worrying more is not going to change the outcome, whether my dog is okay or not. It's not going to make him better if I worry more. It's just going to make me feel ill. So giving myself that time in the car and saying, this is the time I've set aside to, you know, set aside my worry. Have I done everything I possibly can for him? Yes. You know, did I do it as quickly as possible? Yes. I got him the best help I possibly could, as quickly as I possibly could, as soon as I knew. And all I can do now is, you know, pray and hope that he's going to do his best, but continually having this stress and anxiety and fear of what might happen is not gonna change anything for my dog. It's not gonna change anything for me. And so being able to say, okay, I had that time to worry. I stepped outside myself and told myself I did my best and all I could do. And now I'm gonna leave it in the hands of some very capable veterinarians.
I hope you hit subscribe, and I hope I get to see you next week. Bye, friends.
Stay.